YouTube is the latest company to be involved in an AI-generated deepfake scam. The company has issued a warning to creators about a phishing scheme that tries to lure the victims, these creators, into using AI-generated video of its Okay, here's how the scam works. They had AI-generated video of its CEO, Neil Mohan, that they put out to these creators in an attempt to try and steal users' private data. Our next guest has worked with C-suite executives on how to battle against these scams. And joining us right now is Theresa Payton. She is a former White House chief information officer. She's now the CEO of cybersecurity and intelligence firm Fortalice Solutions. And Theresa, thank you for being here today. When I read the details on this is pretty scary because it's pretty sophisticated. And I think that I recognize phishing scams. I feel like we've evolved from the Nigerian letters to all kinds of ways that they try and trick you with emails or texts or different ways that come in. But this is a real step up. AI-generated video from someone you would recognize, thinking, OK, I can trust this. What happened?
And here's what everybody needs to listen to. If this can happen to the talented team at YouTube, this can happen to any company. It's phishing with a twist. So they create sort of this fake monetization policy. They use a deepfake video of a CEO with a household name, YouTube. The red flag should have been for some of the creators. The scam sent them to private YouTube channels instead of public YouTube channels. And YouTube did everything right. As soon as they figured out this was going on, they went out to the creators and said, here are the things our CEO will never do. And this is really important. We used to use adult learning specialists at my time at the White House and my time in financial services. And one of the things they taught me was a lot of times telling everybody the do's and don'ts is too much. Pick 1 to 2 things where you can alert people. This is something that we would never do, something that's out of behavior. So every company today should be thinking about what are the things your CEO would never do? For example, leading people to some type of cryptocurrency investment scheme. Most CEOs of companies wouldn't do something like that. So find a way to make those red flags really obvious for your customers.
I guess this gets me to the question, though, of what else AI-generated videos could be asking people to do, or could be just trying to manipulate the markets, right? If you see someone very well known, like a Jamie Dimon, or someone who's saying, Warren Buffett saying, hey, this is what we think is going to happen in the market, it's doomsday, look out. I mean, those are the type of things that you're not asking people to do anything, but it could very well make people move their holdings in the markets or do something else along those lines. I mean, how do we distinguish what is an AI-generated video from what is not? Is there any tricks? Are there any tricks or any ways that you can tell people to be on the lookout for that, or just don't believe anything you say or you hear, you read, or you see?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Becky. I mean, really, if you see some type of investment advice or some type of market news that sounds it makes you have an emotional reaction, go and check 3 different sources. And I always say to people, have an international source, a national source, and a local source that's trusted and vetted, and go see if you can find out what's being said there. The other piece I would say is in looking at things is go read the social media policies of companies. Companies are doing a really good proactive job of mentioning these are the only official accounts that you'll see information coming out of. These are the things our CEO will never do on social media. And that can be a great way to sort of tell yourself, wait a minute, the social media policy of the company that's posted on their own website says the CEO won't do things like this. So there's 3 trusted sources, checking the social media policy, that can go a long way.
Hey, Theresa, we're talking about it in the context of social media. I just actually met an executive last week who told me that they've set up personal, what they call passwords, so that when they're talking to each other, that they actually use a specific word that's like a weird word because of the sort of fakery. I mean, it could be that somebody could fake my voice, call up Becky on the phone, ask her, I don't know what, and she would think it's me. Yeah. Right? And so now people are actually creating passwords. I mean, that's a
safe
whole
words,
sort of safe word. It's like a whole new level.
Yeah, actually, I recommend this both to companies and individuals, because virtual kidnapping is an actual thing where you get that phone call saying your loved one's in jail, in the hospital, or whatever. And so a couple of things. One is generating that passphrase that's not easily guessed by looking at social media or publicly available information. But also, if in the moment of needing to remember that passphrase, you can't remember it, because sometimes that does happen, what I always tell people is come up with something that only the two of you would know. This actually combated a deepfake audio where a CFO thought he was talking to the CEO. They were talking about doing a wire transfer, and they have a deep fake passphrase, and he couldn't remember. So he said, "Boss, there was a book you asked me to read a couple of weeks ago when I was in your office. You held it up. I can't remember the name of the book." And basically the line went dead. So that can be a great way. Again, find those things that are not easily guessed by the outside, and that can help you with the deepfake audio.
But then, like, Oz Perlman seems to be able to figure this stuff out himself.
Yeah, 1 out of 7 billion people.
Theresa, I mean, that is a kind of a terrifying. How much worse has this gotten over the last 2 years, would you say, just because, I mean, think about wire transfers that take place every single day, and authorizations for those things coming in. I mean, how much worse has it gotten?
Well, we know that phishing is up based on generative AI being a big part of that. Phishing is up over 1,000%. We do know that regardless of deepfake or not deepfake, that companies are targeted. About 400 companies are targeted every minute with CEO scams. They're not all successful. So the statistics are hard to find because not everybody reports them, especially if they don't become a victim of a business email compromise or something like that. But we do know that it's getting worse because we are getting the phone calls from companies saying, we just had a near miss. This was really scary. What are some other things we can do? I would also tell everybody that deep fake audits of your executive team and of your board members is key. You need to have somebody on your team out there just looking at the internet, looking at videos, looking at audio. If you do see deep fake videos and audio, there is a takedown process that you can follow to request to be taken down. Go back and look at your social media policies that you've published around how your CEOs and your C-suite executives will conduct themselves publicly, talking about things that could impact the market, your company. And again, more importantly, the thing we all remember is the one thing you tell people you'll never do. So give them that red flag up front, and that's really going to save a lot of heartache in the process.